Most parents are wary of the so-called heavy metal music.
Salut à tous, durant tout l'été, METALXS vous fait vivre ses rencontres les plus marquantes du Hellfest 2024. METALXS, c'est l'essentiel de l'actualité métal et dérivés en exclusivité sur RIFFX by CRÉDIT MUTUEL, la plateforme de toutes les musiques, tous les talents, en partenariat avec Artforce. C'est parti! Deuxième volet de notre rétrospective Hellfest 2024 consacrée cette fois à la journée du vendredi 28 juin. Et on rentre directement dans le vif du sujet avec l'un des événements du festival, Savage Lands. Il y a 2 ans, partant de rien, Sylvain de Marcastel et le batteur de Megadeth, Dirk Verberen, lançaient un projet ambitieux d'ONG pour participer à la reforestation et la sanctuarisation de terres au Costa Rica, en espérant que la communauté métal, musiciens, médias et publics adhèrent à cette cause environnementale. 2 ans plus tard, Savage Lands est non seulement devenu une dream team musicale possédant son propre répertoire et se produisant sur la main stage 2 du Hellfest, mais le festival a décidé d'épauler substantiellement ses organisateurs sur plusieurs années, comme l'annonce Ben Barbeau lors de la conférence de presse.
Je vais juste prendre la parole, moi, au nom d'Hellfest Productions sur ce... on s'est rencontrés avec Sylvain il y a maintenant à peu près 2 ans, je crois. Comme vous le savez, effectivement, le festival Hellfest est une grosse machine. Et comme tout festival, évidemment, nous travaillons ardemment pour respecter un cahier des charges, pour faire en sorte que le festival ait une empreinte carbone la moins importante possible. Mais cette idée-là, on souhaitait en faire plus et s'engager plus, puisque je pense que le festival, dorénavant, de par sa popularité, se doit de faire plus. Et c'est là que ma rencontre avec Sylvain sur Savage Lands, quand il m'a expliqué tout ce qu'il allait mettre en place et ce qu'il va vous expliquer tout à l'heure, eh bien on s'est dit qu'Hellfest devait faire partie de cette aventure. Elle est en plus conjointe avec énormément d'artistes. Et donc aujourd'hui, cet engagement qu'Hellfest va prendre, entre guillemets, va permettre à Sylvain, je l'espère, et tous les artistes qui participent à Savage Lands de continuer à faire tout un tas d'actions qui font sens. Donc aujourd'hui, le Hellfest va s'engager avec Savage Lands sur les 5 prochaines années à hauteur d'1 million d'euros pour supporter toutes les actions qui vont être menées. Donc on est extrêmement fiers. Plus qu'un simple partenaire, c'est un pote maintenant, entre guillemets, Sylvain. Donc j'ai plein de confiance dans le fait que toutes les actions qui vont être menées, voilà, il y a Savage Lands qui va jouer sur scène tout à l'heure. C'est pour moi un magnifique véhicule qui va permettre de faire parler de ton ONG, de toutes tes actions. Et je suis, moi, content au nom du Hellfest de participer à tout ça.
Non, je crois que là vous avez entendu quand même l'essentiel, c'est qu'on va avoir les moyens de faire des belles choses. Moi je suis hyper fier de me dire que le projet est né ici, que les racines de Savage Lands c'est le Hellfest, et de voir que Ben a été touché par ce qu'on faisait et qu'aujourd'hui il dit ce qui est essentiel en fait. Il a l'aura, il a le pouvoir de lancer des choses qui vont aller au-delà de ce qu'on exige, les petites cases à cocher comme j'aime bien dire. Il a envie de faire un truc qui dépasse ce cadre-là et dans lequel on va embarquer toute la communauté métal. Et c'est une énorme responsabilité, mais c'est avant tout une énorme fierté et un sentiment d'utilité et de plaisir liés. Et donc voilà quoi, on est super fiers et on a hâte de continuer quoi.
Impliqué depuis la première heure, Andreas Kisser de Sepultura prend également la parole.
Well, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. It's an honor. You know, when Dirk from Megadeth and Sylvain came to me with the idea of joining forces with the metal community to bring awareness of what's going on in Costa Rica with the forest and everything that's happening many years. I was very moved, to be a part of it. Of course, I'm come from Brazil, and we have this problem forever. And in Sepultura, we bring this awareness through our music and our lyrics. We did a partnership, not a partnership, but we did a project together with the Chavantes tribe on the Roots album, which it changed completely my mind. How treat nature, how we can treat nature, how we can learn with the tribes. Of course, being a musician, I always thought that we could use our reach with our fans. We are a band that can play all over the world to bring those subjects instead of, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. To put some stuff that we could really reach people regardless of their culture, of their political situation, and etc. And it's happening all around the world, unfortunately. But as I said, I think the Savage Lands project is something, I think, a step further in my view. It's not only bringing awareness through music and our lyrics, but also being more active, acting like a really activist, to try to do stuff that is really going to change or really going to preserve the stuff. I'm always pleased to be a part of this, especially here in the Hellfest. It's fantastic, the partnership of the festival here. It shows the metal community. It can go further. It can unite people. Sepultura, ourselves, we played more than 80 countries around the world. You see how big and how huge the reach of metal can be, We went everywhere, and it's fantastic to see how the metal community are aware, how the metal community grows with the band. They like to study, they like to learn. I learn a lot about history with Iron Maiden, and I think that's important, to use that reach and to try to bring awareness. And I'm so glad I'm here with you all, because I can feel the presence, I can feel the vibe, and I think we're doing something very special, and not only doing music, but also being more active. And I would love to make connections to the Brazilian problem as well, to try to find solutions. I'm learning here. It's a learning experience, to find different ways that we can see and find solutions for the same problem in different countries and different possibilities, different politics and everything, So I'm so thankful to be here. Thank you so much, Sylvain. Congratulations. You are a warrior, a true metal warrior. And this is only the beginning. So join us to the army of the trees. Fuck yeah!
Télescopage d'agenda, Dirk se produisait la veille avec Megadeth, mais ne pouvant être là le vendredi aux côtés de Savage Lands, nous l'attrapons au vol durant une dédicace sur le stand de l'ONG avec Sylvain de Marcastel et leur demandons s'ils réalisent le parcours accompli en 2 ans.
Bah, c'est incroyable quoi, on s'imaginait pas que ça allait aller aussi haut, aussi vite. Évidemment c'est le but, donc en même temps, et puis bon, Sylvain il a pas dormi depuis 2 ans, donc mais non, ça fait super plaisir quoi, c'est incroyable.
Beaucoup de fierté,
beaucoup de fierté.
Et moi beaucoup de reconnaissance parce que il dit toujours qu'il n'est pas assez disponible et pas assez là, mais sans lui j'aurais beau travailler comme un fou, il n'y aurait pas tout ça. Donc beaucoup de reconnaissance pour lui et puis pour tous les artistes qui nous ont rejoints dès le début, les petits comme les grands.
C'est un peu injuste, mais Dirk n'est-il pas frustré de ne pas pouvoir se produire live avec Savage Lands alors qu'il en est une pièce maîtresse?
Ah bah ouais, je suis super frustré, mais bon, ce n'est que partie remise. Ça va se faire.
C'est ce que je lui ai dit. T'as vu la taille que ça prend, t'es mort. C'est no way out.
Voilà.
Dirk commence à connaître le Hellfest comme sa poche. Il y a même joué 2 fois sur les 2 week-ends de l'édition 2022.
Bah ouais, la dernière fois, on était un des 2 groupes du monde, je crois, qui ont joué 2 fois de suite en une semaine, donc voilà. Donc maintenant, c'est comme ma deuxième maison. Hein. Je vais aller dormir dans le stand tout à l'heure.
Ouais, c'est bon, hein.
Voilà. This is Dirk Van Buren from Megadeth and co-founder of Savage Lands. c'est la preuve qu'on peut réaliser beaucoup de choses, quoi, si on s'y met et qu'on fait les choses bien et qu'on a du bon soutien, on peut vraiment arriver quelque part. Et ça fait vraiment plaisir parce que moi j'ai toujours adoré la communauté métal comme Sylvain et voilà, c'est la preuve.
Merci. You want to talk to Dirk?
Merci.
C'est un businessman maintenant, c'est plus.
Ouais, il est déjà au téléphone. Alors, tu vois.
I'm just with him, so it would be cool. Merci Dirk.
Ciao, merci.
Shane Embury, his plane is delayed.
Okay.
Dirk says hi, day.
En fin d'après-midi, METALXS a le privilège de vous emmener backstage et sur scène pour assister au tout premier concert de l'histoire de Savage Lands. Vous allez voir, il y a du beau monde. Autre retrouvaille de la journée, Saint Agnes, que nous vous avions fait découvrir l'année dernière en interview et en acoustique. Premier Hellfest pour la formation britannique en toute ouverture de la journée.
I was a bit worried about that, but the minute our intro track came on, it was just in it, like you're just there. And we were quite worried because, you know, like 10:30 is very early and I thought we'd be playing to like, you know, maybe 100 people, but it suddenly just filled up. And as soon as you see people who've come out that early to see you, you're just so excited. You're like, wow, like you've given me your morning. We had a wall of death at like 11 a.m. So it's just, yeah, it wasn't hard.
It's not hard. And I think like all of the music that we write is quite emotional. And as soon as you're playing that music, it puts the emotions very present in your mind. And so you're living it again. So it doesn't really matter what time. It's kind of as soon as you hear those songs, or we hear those songs for ourselves, it's kind of like a Pavlov's dog, Pavlovian response, you know, you're just immediately feeling that thing and you're just there. So as soon as, we can be laughing and joking 2 minutes before the stage, and then as soon as we start the music, it's just, everything changes.
Pour un jeune groupe comme Saint Agnes, le Hellfest, c'est une expérience unique.
Because it's the mecca, isn't it, of like rock and metal, you know, in Europe. The reputation of this festival is just insane. So yeah, like as soon as this was booked, like maybe 6 months ago, it was like, oh, it's the centre of the whole year, like Hellfest, main stage Hellfest.
yeah, it's hugely important, and people, other bands talk about it.
Yeah.
So we did a show with Skindred, and we said to them, oh, we're playing Hellfest, and they're like, oh, what slot? And we said, we're opening the main stage, and they're like, oh, we did that 4 years ago, it's amazing, and you know, you'll have a great time. So, you know, the people talk about the festival all the time. It's a really important one for everyone.
Se souviennent-ils du premier festival auquel ils les ont assistés?
So Glastonbury would have been my first festival, which unfortunately, like, it's a shame that there's not much rock and metal at Glastonbury. There's maybe like 1 or 2 stages. I saw the Dead Weather, and that absolutely blew my mind when I was a teenager.
It's an inspiration for you?
Oh, big time, yeah. And they played the Pyramid stage, and the sun was setting, and it was just absolutely perfect.
Mine was actually Reading, and I saw Metallica 21 years ago now. It was System of a Down into Metallica. And I remember getting my exam results from school as a text message just before Metallica went on. And I was
it good or bad?
I've done well. 4 Bs, 7 Cs.
Oh, okay. That's pretty average.
I was happy.
Mine was Donington before Downloads. It was Donington Monsters of Rock and Metallica were headlining, and the Crozier Conformity were the first band on, who I love, but they've dropped out of this festival, which is a real shame because I was hoping to see them. But White Zombie played, they were a hugely inspirational band for me.
95.
And Slayer, and yeah, it was amazing. And seeing Metallica, who were my favourite band at that point, you know, on an amazing, massive stage, and realising that there was a community of people who liked the things I liked, because I didn't know that. I was just like 13 years old or whatever, and felt quite isolated in my musical tastes and cultural tastes. And then to get a bus there and walk in and just be like, whoa, there's everyone here is kind of like me, and people were so friendly, and it made a really big impression, and it made me realise what a good festival show should be, seeing Metallica at that time.
Et ça ne les rend pas jaloux, eux qui sont anglais, nés dans la patrie du festival de rock par excellence, que les Frenchies volent un peu la vedette au rassemblement britannique.
We're not jealous because we're Europeans. Our politics might say we're not European, but we feel European. So for us, France is right next door. We're happy to be here, and there's English. We've heard a lot of English accents around and stuff. You know, there's a lot of people from all over Europe here, so it's great.
Eux qui font partie de la jeune scène encore underground, comment voient-ils la relève des têtes d'affiche qui s'éclipsent aujourd'hui?
Yeah, I mean, we do talk about it because we're interested in music, and it's like if you're interested in football, you're interested in whatever, you just talk about the subject, and you look around. To be honest, I don't think there's anything wrong with the artists. I think there's loads of great bands. I think the thing that's going to always make it quite difficult now is just the way the music's consumed. Because of streaming and everything's more private and personal, it's harder to have a collective cultural moment. So whereas in England, Nirvana playing on Top of the Pops, which was the big TV show, every single kid in the country saw that at the same time, and on Monday at school had an opinion on it. That doesn't happen anymore, and so it's quite hard. So as soon as they did that, they were then headlining Reading Festival. And that pathway isn't really there anymore, and I don't think it's because I don't think there's anything wrong with the music. I think there's loads of great bands, and people are as committed as ever to making art and entertaining audiences, and you only have to look at, you know, bands like us that are playing that lots of people in that audience won't know who we are. The audiences are ready to engage with new music. It's just really hard to get to a Metallica level with the current media music listening system.
D'année en année, les femmes s'imposent, à juste titre, sur toutes les scènes du Hellfest. Et certaines viennent de loin. Petit détour par les stands de la Hell City où Fear Factory est en pleine dédicace en attendant de monter sur scène quelques heures plus tard. Let's go! L'un des fleurons du metalcore britannique, While She Sleeps, revient à Clisson pour la 3e fois et pour toujours mieux. L'occasion pour nous d'échanger quelques mots avec son chanteur Loz Taylor.
Initially we played a different stage. I think every year we've played the War Zone, which has always been incredible. But today was main stage and we had the best show. Loved it. Everyone came off stage feeling like, it was good. It's unbelievable the amount of effort that the festival puts into making it a great experience, and we always have a great time here, so big up Hellfest, love it.
Autre ambiance quand on passe par l'altar où Klone monte sur scène devant nos caméras. On se donne rendez-vous dans le prochain épisode de METALXS puisque les interviews se feront le lendemain. Et le métal progressif représenté par d'autres contemporains de Klone sur la main stage venus d'Australie, Karnivool se produit au Hellfest pour la toute première fois. Autre forme progressive que celle de Polyphia, le groupe texan qui lui aussi inaugure sa première prestation à Clisson. Le Hellfest, c'est aussi le lieu d'événements qui compte dans la vie des groupes et des fans. Pionnier de la scène Indus Fusion européenne des années 90, Clawfinger ne s'est jamais produit ici et c'est incroyable de retrouver son chanteur Zach quelques heures avant qu'il n'enflamme la Warzone, quand on sait comment le groupe fonctionne en pointillé aujourd'hui. Le chaleureux blagueur suédois nous fait comprendre que ce ne sont pas nos questions qui l'épuisent.
Is it okay? It's not the interviews that's the problem. The problem is we got up at 3:50 this morning to fly here. So that's why I look tired, not because of you guys. So don't worry, it's all good, it's all good.
Hellfest, you beautiful fuckers!
Il n'a peut-être jamais joué à Clisson, mais s'est rapidement jeté dans le bain et vante l'esprit des festivals.
It sort of becomes like a community almost, or like a small town within a town. No, but hasn't that always been what festivals are about? It's about it's a free zone away from your normal life. Fuck the laundry, fuck the kids, fuck making food, fuck all your responsibilities. Go to a festival, live in a tent for 3 or 4 days, smell like shit, drink too much, smoke too much. Not take care of yourself and see loads of bands that you love. I mean, it's the perfect way to fuck your life up completely. No, I mean, festivals are the best thing, they really are. It's because everyone is here to have a good time.
Lui qui a démarré à une époque où le métal était une vraie contre-culture, avec des messages forts et engagés, ne trouve-t-il pas que le genre a perdu de son acidité et ne trouve pas la même relève?
There's no way for me to answer this question without sounding like an old fucker. Maybe it's lost a bit of its edge, or maybe it's just the fact that it's so much easier for everyone to make music, that there's just more out there, so a lot of the good stuff gets drowned in the bad stuff. Because in the 90s or even earlier, people didn't have digital audio workstations. You couldn't sit at home in your cupboard and just make shit up on your own in the same way as you can now. But I think it's kind of wrong to say that it's lost its edge, because there is still good bands out there. And there are still people who give a shit and want to make a difference. But yeah, there probably is more shit out there now than there used to be. But there's still good stuff out there as well. Definitely. We need to be hopeful. And it's also a lot more about quick fixes and short careers and fucking 10-second TikTok clips and all that kind of crap.
Definitely.
Which of course takes away from context and messages and like, you know, there's no fucking attention span anymore. People don't have the attention, and that's fucking scary.
Clawfinger a toujours été un groupe porteur de thèmes sérieux, mais avec un sens de l'humour indéniable.
For us, it's definitely important to try and say something that means something. That's always been the case. We've never been one of these like party bands. I mean, we like to party, don't get me wrong, but we don't want our music to be based on those themes. And that has a lot to do with me growing up with old punk and also loving old rap, like Public Enemy and like, you know, the old school rap, where there were still messages and people tried to say things that mean something. And I find that really important. It doesn't mean you can't have fun as well. It doesn't mean you can't be funny and joke as well. There's no contradiction with being serious and also having a fun time, you know. So you can do both. And that's one thing that we've realized as we've gotten older. It's okay to laugh, be silly, and have some kind of message. So it's still just as important to us. The difference is times have changed and we're no longer that same active band. And also, yeah, we're just getting older and middle-aged and grumpier and more gray-haired and fatter and, you know, but that's life. We're still here, we're still alive. So that's reason to celebrate. Yay! You know, it's
Tous ceux qui y étaient vous le diront, le concert de Clawfinger au Hellfest 2024, c'est un des grands moments à retenir de cette édition. Une Warzone qui en a vu d'autres. Souvenez-vous, en 2015, c'est Bodycount qui labourait le terrain. Bodycount, de retour pour sa 3e venue, et Agnes, le guitariste vétéran, assure le service avant-vente, puisqu'il n'est sur scène qu'à 1h du matin.
We're on the Warzone again. Well, we're playing at 1 in the morning. I'm trying to figure out how do we play it. That's tomorrow. We're not even playing today. We're playing tomorrow. So a lot of napping today. Well, when we first came here, it was still a big deal, you know. And now it's like it's huge. I mean, I you know, over the past 10 years, I think we've been coming here playing here about almost 10 years. It's grown. You know, it's like, I mean, we had to get in a car to come over here to do the interviews from where we are. It's that big, you know. They're like, you can't walk it. So, yeah.
Nous parlions plutôt de messages et d'engagement. Si un groupe a dit ce qu'il avait à dire dans les années 90, c'est bien Bodycount.
Well, you know, bands aren't as social as they were in the past. You know, they're not a Rage Against the Machine and bands like that that really make a stand for something. Bands now, I'm really not getting it, you know, what they're talking about. I mean, maybe it's so underground that I'm not seeing them, you know. But I think musicians need to make more of a stand. You know, now musicians are so corporate that they're, you know, scared to say things. In America, they have a thing about getting canceled. You know, there's a thing where they cancel culture. And I mean, like our songs like Cop Killer and KKK Bitch and those songs, we probably couldn't get those songs out right now. People are looking at that song, you know, like, wow, you can say that. We're like, you should be able to say it now, you know. The only reason we can play that song is because we wrote it 30 years ago. And not too much has changed since we started, you know. The bar has moved this much. I don't know if it's moved this way or that way, but it's only moved a slight bit since we changed. The same things that we were talking about are the same things we're going to talk about tonight, are the same things people are relating to.
Décidément, ce vendredi est une journée sous le signe de la fusion du métal. Son groupe phare, Rage Against the Machine, n'a jamais joué au Hellfest, ni Audioslave. Et il a fallu attendre 2017 pour que Tom Morello foule du pied la contrée du Muscadet avec Prophets of Rage.
Hello! Bonjour, it's nice to be here. You're looking well. What's going on?
Quand on lui demande quelle boussole a guidé tous ses projets, Morello remonte à la jeunesse de sa carrière.
I was in a band before Rage Against the Machine called Lock Up, and we tried to please everybody. We tried to please the record company, the manager, the producer, like trying to be successful. Like I'm sure the experts know better. Like, you know, like they didn't want me to do like the toggle switch thing on the record because that's not a thing that people had on records, you know. We got dropped from the label, and the day that we got dropped from the label, two things happened. One was I vowed I was never going to play another note of music that I didn't believe in. And 21 records later, I never have. And the second thing I did on that day was I called Brad Wilk.
Que recommande-t-il alors aux musiciens qui débutent dans la musique?
Yeah. The advice I have is very simple. It's make sure that you love what you play. That is the only marker, the only bar for success whatsoever. I know people who are in real big bands that do not enjoy their lives, they do not enjoy the music they play, and they don't believe in it. And so whether you're playing in a basement or whether you're headlining Hellfest, make sure that the music that you play is meaningful to you and it's something that you love, whether or not anyone ever pays you a dime to do it. That would be, I don't know how you can become famous on TikTok. You'll have to ask somebody else that question.
Évidemment, si on lance le guitariste sur la question de l'engagement, il part au quart de tour avec sa verve habituelle.
If there's one, across 21 records, there's really one message that is a thread through all of my music, and that is that the world is not going to change itself. That is up to you. And by you, I literally mean you. Like the people watching on your thing and your thing. That's how the world changes. And sometimes it seems like this sort of monolithic problem that we'll never be able to get past and the world cannot be changed, or the worst people are the ones in charge, and they often are. But you are not witnesses to history, you are agents of history. History is not something that happened, it's something you make. Whenever there has been a progressive, radical, or even revolutionary, positive change for the better, it's come from people who are no different than anyone in this room or any of the audiences that you're writing for or that your videos are for. Once you have that realization that you do have your hands on the wheel of history and of this planet, and if you want to make it a more peaceful, a more just, a more equitable, a more anti-racist, a more environmentally sound place, there's no one to blame if it doesn't happen, but you for not standing up. Here's the thing, like at any given historical moment, you stand in the place where you live and you stand in the place where you work. That's it. You know what I mean? So some people are like, you know, you guys made Rage records 30 years ago and now look at the horrible state of the world. Imagine what it would be like if we didn't make Rage records 30 years ago. You know what I mean? Like at every moment, you do what you can, when you can, where you can. That's the way that I look at it. And the arc of history is a long one, and there are very, very challenging times now, certainly in my country, and I know here as well. And that, you know, in part, like literally the fate of the planet is at stake over the course of the next few decades. So it's time for metalheads to get their shit together.
I'm Syrian Canadian, and the war in Syria made me think a lot about what's happening in the world and what caused the war in our region and in the world. And later on, I discovered that there's no way for me for us to break from the system, because everything that we do, if we buy Pepsi, if we refill our car, if we use Instagram, we're part of the system unless we go to Switzerland to some mountain and live alone. So honestly, what I'm saying is there is no hope. So what do you think?
Well, first of all, I disagree with you, there's no hope. I would say, though, to not be so, that one option that I might suggest is to not be so wrapped up in being pure that it stops you from acting. You know what I mean? Like, yes, Pepsi, if you drink a Pepsi, you're not going to hell because you've supported like some corporation. What it is important to do, change comes from below. Like real meaningful change comes from below. It always has. People organize and the world changes. These are really difficult times that we're in. The planet has been in difficult times before. Sometimes times as dire or more dire than this. And when it has come out on the right side of history, it's because people just like you, even in times when they could despair, didn't despair. That's really that's how the world changes. Like this is not this is a dire historical moment, but it is not a unique historical moment, you know? And the way I look at it is like, I'm stuck being a guitar player. I'm cursed. It's my calling. I didn't choose it, it chose me. So now I've got to find some way to bend this weird hobby that I picked up, you know, as a teenager and try to change the fucking world with it. And it's not easy, but wherever you are and whatever your job is, and whatever your life is, whether it's standing up to illegitimate authority in your home, your place of work, your school, your country, or whatever, like I said before, like history is not something that happens, it's something that we make. So I would encourage you and your listeners or whatever to not despair, to act.
On ne peut pas penser à Tom Morello sans penser à Chris Cornell, avec lequel il jouait dans Audioslave. Un destin tragique qui a mis en évidence le problème méconnu dans la musique de la dépression.
All I can say is you know, when I was coming up, that wasn't even a thing. People didn't, if rockers were on drugs or whatever, you're like, oh, that's just the way they are. No one even sort of understood what depression was. You know, in my own life and working with some musicians I've worked with, I've seen it firsthand and how it can, you know, sort of destroy people and bands and families and all that. I think just the idea that it doesn't make you a weak person. Like if you break your leg, you go to the doctor to have your leg fixed. If you're feeling depressed or you're feeling like not right or feel like you need help, it doesn't make you less metal in any way to seek help. And also to support one another and really like have your radar on and check in on people around you who you feel might be at risk.
Dans l'assistance, quelqu'un se risque à lui demander ce que devient Rage Against the Machine.
If there's ever any news about Rage Against the Machine, you will hear it from Rage Against the Machine.
Thank you. On n'en saura pas davantage sur l'avenir de Rage, mais ce qui est certain, c'est que Tom Morello ne se fera pas prier pour revenir.
One of my favorite odd crowds of all time was the last time I played at Hellfest with Prophets of Rage. It was an insane show. There were like the number of people the number of people in wheelchairs crowd surfing was a huge number, you know, like just sort of the commitment and the love of music that you find, you know, at these sort of festivals is one of the reasons why I still love doing it at this level.
Rob Flynn a souvent dit qu'il n'était pas amateur de festival. Il n'empêche qu'il rajoute une 4e étoile de fidélité à son maillot du Duché de Bretagne et en tête d'affiche avec Machine Head, s'il vous plaît.
Are you ready to sing these words? Are you ready? You're with me.
Voilà une seconde journée qui s'achève au Hellfest pour METALXS. Rendez-vous dans 15 jours pour le nouvel épisode de notre grande rétrospective Hellfest 2024. Très bel été à tous et n'oubliez pas de prolonger l'expérience sur RIFFX.fr. Salut!